Is Trump removing Maduro for peace from Venezuela? Let's slow this down and look at the facts. This is Daily Debunks, January 4th for Spirited Sundays. On January 2nd and 3rd, 2026, this year, U.S. forces carried out a military operation in Caracas, capturing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. They were flown into the United States, New York, where U.S. officials announced plans to prosecute Maduro on charges including narco-terrorism and drug trafficking. First pictures of Maduro in the last 14 hours in New York, looking in kind of chipper spirits. However, Maduro denies any of these allegations that Trump has claimed against him. Here's a geopolitical video that transpired over the last couple of months. But ultimately, President Trump said the U.S. will run Venezuela until a peaceful transition happens and that American oil companies would rebuild, operate, and sell Venezuela's oil with proceeds funding reconstruction. So the question is this really about peace? Axios news outlet has been doing some extensive coverage of this unfolding story. The Trump administration doubled the bounty on Maduro's head to $50 million. Trump framed the move as fighting drugs and dictatorship, but he also openly tied it to oil. Critics and analysts, including members of Congress, has questioned the peace narrative. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez called it to what she believes it actually is: oil and regime change, not peace building. Picture of Maduro when he was being flown out of Venezuela while arriving in New York. Let's zoom out now. Has U.S.-backed regime change ever created lasting peace in Latin America? History says no. You can ask your parents or your abuelos about this. Panama 1989, Chile 1973, Cold War interventions in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, massacre of innocent civilians in the tens of thousands. Great article on NPR about this. History has consistently shown us that U.S.-led regime change in Latin America leads to prolonged conflict, not stable, self-determined peace. Kudos to the U.S. military, however, by the way, for making this operation short with minimal casualties. But this was ultimately a military strike, followed by extradition to U.S. courts and announced alongside plans to exert control, not withdraw, as per Associated Press News. And oil matters. Great explanation by Sully Dog on why we were after Venezuela oil versus our own. Venezuela holds the largest proven oil reserves in the world, and Trump explicitly linked oil access to U.S. economic benefit. Bottom line, it's not accurate to say Maduro was removed for peace, and there's no precedent that U.S. military regime change in Latin America creates lasting peace. And when a leader says the U.S. will run another country and sell its oil, that's economic and geopolitical leverage, not peacekeeping. That's the debunk.